Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in to Act 3. Always glad that you're joining us. On today's episode, we have a whole whack of stuff to share with you, including learning how to toss your boss off the bridge. I know it seems odd to think about doing something like that, but these days we need to be creative when it comes to fundraising, and this is a fundraiser you're not going to want to miss. Speaking of not wanting to miss something, you're also not going to want to miss the social event of the season. Shine 2022 is going to be at the Vancouver Island Convention Center on September 17th. My guest, Dean Thullner, is going to share with us all about how you can get involved and why this event is so important to our community. And further to that, we have some information coming from Teresa Osman for the Wellness Minute. And we're going to learn from Volunteer Nanaimo why it's important to have a hand-in-hand project to share the legacy of the people that are in our community, that we want to have their information go on forward. So I want to tell you, now's the time to grab yourself a cup of coffee, make yourself comfortable, and enjoy the program.
Ever experienced such a moment as this? So if you got that good feeling in your body and you want to bring this moment to life, come with me, we'll hit the town. Let's go right now and live the life. I just want to shine like the sky up like a sunset, living with no regrets.
I love it when you're here joining us on Act 3. So thanks for tuning in once again. We're super glad you're here. And with us today is Dean Thullner. Now, I have to tell you, arguably, he's one of my favorite people on the planet. I'm just going to spell that out right now. And one of the reasons why he's one of my favorite people is not only is he the most fabulous hairdresser, just saying, he is also the creative thinker and talent extraordinaire on something that is happening in our community that is so important. That is Shine 2022. Welcome to the program. I love that you're here. How are you,
Thanks,
darling?
Kathy. Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
Hey, it's always a treasure just to be around you, but I love you even more now for what you brought to this community. You moved here just a few years ago, right? Before
At the height of the
I
pandemic,
know.
right?
And then you went walking around town and saw that there were a lot of people suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And in your usual wonderful way, you said, I'm not okay with that.
I wasn't okay with it. You know, before I moved here for 10 years, my company, Volume Studio Limited, had created an event called Shine.
Yes.
And Shine is and always will be a platform for the artistic communities to express themselves on their own terms in the spirit of giving back.
Yeah.
You know, not everyone can write a check, not everybody can financially support a charity, but there's no shortage of young youth that are talented, that want to give back.
I know, and I love that they do it on their own terms. Specifically, Shine 2022 is going to be at the Vancouver Island Convention Center. It starts at 6 o'clock. Tell us a little bit more what people can expect.
So on September 17th, we're going to have over 200 local actors, dancers, singers, drag queens, musicians, magicians, circus performers, and more. It's all being supported by some of the top hairdressers, makeup artists, fashion designers, and local sponsors. And together we'll be raising money and awareness for mental health and addiction and supporting our at-risk youth.
Now, this is the part where we've got to take a step back to really unpack this mental health and addictions piece, because there are so many gaps in the system. What do you think that this funding can do in our community?
Well, we have two recipients.
Okay.
We have AVI Community Health Center, and we have a FLOW program, which is the Nanaimo Ladysmith School Board.
Right.
And both of those programs focus on helping youth. And I think it's going to be an excellent opportunity for us to not only bring in funds, but to address the stigma attached to it.
Yeah, and I think the stigma piece has been around for far too long. We need to get this systemic situation under control and really be more accepting of our community. And one way that's going to happen is at this particular event. Mm-hmm. You know, it's one thing to think about 200 people, you know, participating in something like this, but the magnitude, the celebration, the color, the dynamics of the program itself is beyond extraordinary. What on earth possessed you to do such a big event? It's such a marvelous idea. How did you get there?
Well, in the late 80s, when I was 29 years old, I was diagnosed HIV positive. Fast forward, given months, days, to live and really was fighting for my life. Through a miracle of science, a doctor came in and said, you've got to try this medication, and for that reason I'm here. But on the outside of all the medical research and all the doctors that forged together to try to help this marginalized community, it was the actual community itself, the people in the LGBT community, people that were not afraid of that community, people that didn't stigmatize that community, that forged together to bring awareness and to force funding and to force research. And I promised myself that if I got through this first pandemic, that I would start knocking on doors and to try to help. And you know, it wasn't easy in the beginning. You know, we knocked on doors, people weren't talking about mental health and addiction 10 years ago. But now people realize that 1 in 5 Canadians will probably experience mental health issues themselves, or through a coworker or a colleague or a friend or a neighbor, they're going to recognize this. And I think people are starting to realize that we cannot stigmatize mental health.
Yeah, we just can't do it. I'm delighted by a couple of things. Number one, all the money stays local, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is very important. The fact that you have a really solid background, $5 million, I believe, is what you have raised over the last few, you and your team and volunteers and all of that. And nobody takes a penny from this, except all the money goes to the cause that is being supported at that time. And of course, this time you said it was AVI and the FLOW programs. As you've watched this unfold and you've seen so much going on, I feel the excitement already in our community. We're starting to see the buzz. I can't believe how many people want to get involved in this. Can we talk a little bit about who's involved in Nanaimo?
Well, I would like to touch on the fact that when you said that nobody gets paid, I think it's really important for people to realize that a show like this would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. But because the volume team, the community, everyone volunteers on their own terms, no one gets paid. We literally pay for our hard costs. The convention center probably would, an event like this would cost $30,000, $40,000. They're giving us the event space for $3,500. They see the need to help the youth. You know, the mayor is coming, the city council's coming, doctors from NRGH are coming. Everybody realizes that it's time to start helping our community. And I think that's the magic. You know, when I stand on that stage and say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Shine, I am so overwhelmed by the community and the artistic support.
No kidding. And it's not about anything more than having a wonderful time and raising money. It's not about speeches. It's not about hotty-totty. It's all about let's get the word out, the comfort out, and let people enjoy themselves at the same time. We need people's money, for sure.
Oh, for sure. But, you know, it's not a regular fundraiser where you're listening to long speeches and having a boring rubber chicken dinner, right?
No, right?
You're watching 200 people from the community going up and down the platform on their own terms to celebrate.
Yes.
You know, as I always say, Shine is a platform for the community to express themselves on their own terms, and that's what you're going to be in for. But it's a cocktail party to start, appetizers, meet and greet, people selling balloons, 50-50 tickets. The show's 2 hours long. We're going to wrap it up with a 70s disco party. It'll be like nothing that this community has seen.
Absolutely, and this is the exciting part. I think something like 800 people, 600, 700, 800 people are going to be at the event already. So we've got to do a call to action because tickets are going already so quickly. How do they get them?
Well, we're expecting to sell out the 800. We've already sold well over 650 tickets, so tickets are going fast. You can get a ticket at www.togetherweshine.ca, but you can also go on that website if you'd like to contact us in regards to being a corporate sponsor, to volunteer, to make a cash donation to one of those charities. It's really going to be about the community. We always say Together We Shine, communities supporting communities, and I think this time next year, as we have this 10-year plan to continue this forward, I think more and more people are going to get excited about being part of this spectacular event.
Well, I can't wait to be there. I know it's going to be such a hoot. I can't wait. So I'm hoping that all of our Act 3 followers and all of the people within our community, make sure that you do a call to action. Check out togetherweshine.ca. We've got more coming up. Thanks for joining us today. Have you ever wanted to toss your boss over the bridge? I can't tell you that I haven't thought about it, secretly maybe, at least once in my lifetime. And so listen, there is a really fabulous fundraiser coming up. Kik Shaitan is going to tell us all about it, coming up next.
We launched Toss the Boss last year in partnership with Victoria Brain Injury Society and Wild Play Nanaimo. We brought out about 40 teams last year who fundraised around $87,000 in one day. And
Fantastic.
so teams nominate their boss. So these can be employees that nominate their boss and then raise a minimum of $500 to see their boss bungee jump. And so, yeah, it was incredible. It felt like a festival atmosphere. We were out at Wild Play all day. We had teams from accounting firms and real estate. We had fantastic participation from all across the island, small businesses, large businesses, universities. Everybody was very eager to pitch their boss
to throw you
off the
overboard.
bungee bridge. And it's a really incredible show of leadership to see somebody stand in that kind of vulnerability at the platform on top of the bridge and facing 150 feet of nothing. I don't care if you've got a bungee cord attached to your ankles. That thing doesn't kick in until you reach the bottom. So it's a free fall.
Oh my God.
But it was just so incredible to watch that role modeling of courage and vulnerability and literally taking one for the team.
Yeah.
And so the team did the work of the fundraising to support brain injury survivors, and the boss laid it out on the line.
Wow.
And you would just see, especially for the jumpers who are having a difficult time.
Yeah.
It is not easy to stand on that platform and stare into the abyss. And
so were you scared the first time you did it?
I was up on the bridge. I was having a good time. There's music. There's all this. It's like a party up there. Like, yeah, this is great. I figured, if I'm going to go, I'm going to wear a unicorn onesie.
Yeah.
Nothing bad can happen to you when you're wearing a unicorn onesie.
That's right. That's
magic.
right.
So I was wearing my unicorn onesie. I was having a good time. I was raring to go. And they're strapping your ankles in. They're making the jump masters. Oh my God. Like the bridge crew were just phenomenal, cracking jokes about it being their first day on the job.
Wow.
So funny, doing everything they can to help you relax. So we were good. We're having a good time. And then they strap your ankles together with like what looks like an old towel and some elastic bands. And then you kind of like shuffle out to the edge of the platform. And that's where things get real.
Wow.
So standing on the platform now with everybody watching, and there is nothing except the beautiful Nanaimo River below you.
Wow.
And so I was there with Steve, the jump master, and he's explaining it to you. He's like, all you got to do is lean forward, watch that tree, just watch it all the way down. All you got to do is just lean forward. And I'm like, oh God, there's such biological imperative right now to not hurl myself into the abyss.
Yes.
There's nothing about this that says yes.
Yeah.
So he just like put your hands above your head, so you've got like a little bit more weight above you. So that's gonna. And then I was like, I need help. And he just very gently leaned me forward. He didn't push, just leans forward until gravity takes over, and then he lets go.
Wow.
And then you're falling, and there's no turning back.
No, because you're falling. Yeah, no kidding. You're falling. You're free falling.
It's not painful at all. It's terrifying. For me, some folks were incredible. We had these beautiful like swan dives off of the bridge. Wow. We had one guy in a full green lycra suit who jumped not only from the platform, he jumped from the other side of the bridge, so he could get a more like fulsome swing. Wow. So some people were just like, this was the best thing I've ever done, so freeing. And some bosses were like, I will never, ever do that again. So,
however, you're not one of them.
This is the thing, Kathy, is that we ask brain injury survivors and families to do hard things every day.
Yes.
We ask them to navigate systems that are very difficult
Yeah.
to navigate on at the best of times.
Mhm.
We ask them to have patience. We ask them to wait. We ask them to overcome incredible challenges, from rehab to navigating the phone systems, or learning how to make coffee again, or learning how to walk again. We ask brain injury survivors to do hard things every day.
Yeah.
And so getting up on that bridge is a little bit of a symbol of saying, you know what, we're with you. We're going to raise some money, and we're going to ask our bosses to do something hard, because we can do hard things, and we can do them as a community. So we had such a good time last year. We're doing it again. I've got a different onesie this year. I figure, as long as it has wings, I'm good. So I've got a dragon this year, dragon onesie with wings. I will be on the bridge. Once again, we've got DJ Allgood, who's going to be DJing up on top of the bridge. We've got food trucks. We've got drone footage of jumpers. We've got already, so it's September 23rd. We've got 16 teams already signed up, really from like small little organizations to big, like provincial organizations. Like it is such a good time, and it's such incredible team building to get out there with your team, do a high ropes course, and then pitch your boss off a bridge.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm pretty excited about trying it. Or I'm not going to jump over, but I'm definitely going to come and watch you go over. It'll be calendarized right away so that happens. So that's on September the 23rd. What time does it start?
Yeah, so the first jumpers go at 10. Okay. And there'll be teams jumping all day. Again, we're going to have the brilliant DJ Allgood, incredible, award-winning DJ. He's going to be up on the top of the bridge, just creating an incredible party atmosphere. And we've got, like I said, we've got food trucks. We'll have information out there about brain injury. We'll have the teams. People are dressing up. We're really, really excited. Wild Play is a phenomenal venue. The people, Wild Play staff are all incredible. And it's wonderful to be able to partner on this kind of big event with Victoria Brain Injury Society. So these are our two organizations that, again, are building trust with each other to do something bigger.
Teresa Osman is up next for the Wellness Minute. She's always got such brilliant information. Enjoy.
And today I am with Anna Walker. She's with Men Mobile Health, and she is a kinesiologist. Welcome, Anna. Thanks for being with us today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. The study of kinesiology is the study of human movement. So how we can keep our bodies active and mobile as we age.
And as we age, of course, it's so incredibly important to stay mobile. So what are some of the suggestions that you can give to us to keep us active and mobile and maybe prevent us from requiring your services?
Of course. One of the best and easiest things you can do is move as often and as varied as you possibly can. So, tying your shoes a different way every time, or going out and walking on different terrain, being active a little bit longer than normal. So maybe parking a little bit further away, or, getting down on your hands and knees and gardening and things like that.
And gardening too, it's a great activity because we can do it at any age. And as we age, there's some little aids that we can use, kneeling pads and that sort of thing. But it's so good to get down into the earth and feel the ground for grounding too. So gardening is an amazing activity.
Yes, it's one of the best things you can do. Get outside, stay active, and stay as mobile as you can.
And walking is so easy. And I've often heard that over the years, that just go walk. After dinner, take a walk around the block. And if you can only make it halfway, then turn around and go back, that sort of thing. But to keep those joints and muscles moving.
Yeah, you want to keep moving, and you want to kind of stress your muscles a little bit. You want to go a little bit further each time if you can. And if your body's telling you not to, turn around and head back, or find a park bench and take a seat for a minute. there's lots of different options and things you can do. The other thing would be starting with a mobility aid.
How about strength training? That's something that we hear is important, but many of us really don't know, what does that mean? Does it mean going to the gym and lifting 50-pound weights?
Weight training looks different for everybody. If weight training for you is lifting a really heavy pot of coffee, that still counts,
Right.
Using things you have in your home. That's something we do lots, is encourage people to find things in their home, like a laundry basket, put something in it, a jug of water, things like that. There are so many different things you can use as weights, even something as simple as soup cans.
Well, Anna, thank you so very much for being with us today, and your great tips for staying active and maintaining mobility as long as possible.
I don't know about you, but when my mother passed away way back when, probably 20 years ago now, and my grandmother probably 25 years ago now, along with both of them went some of the best cookie recipes, best dinner yum-yums that ever were. There's a lot of things I wish I could have passed forward to my own family. Having said that, there is a way that all of you can do that now. Don't make the mistakes that I did. Make sure that you reach out to Volunteer Nanaimo and find out how the Hand in Hand project can help you keep the legacy alive. What is Hand in Hand intergenerational storytelling, and how did you get involved in it?
I'll take that one. And intergenerational storytelling was a project that Volunteer Nanaimo came up with, and New Horizons funded that program.
Mm-hmm.
The premise behind it was that with COVID closing everything down, there was a general need to connect with seniors who maybe were isolated.
Yeah.
And so the project was, the premise behind it is to partner some volunteers with seniors, and through storytelling, then bring that visiting and the partnerships together. And the result is a written transcript, really, of those conversations, creating a story, the storytelling part of things. And that was the premise behind it. How I became involved was I heard about the project through Gwen. Gwen and I are friends. And I actually lost my dad through the pandemic time.
Oh,
he didn't
dear.
die of COVID, but he was 86. And that last week before he passed away, I heard stories that I'd never heard my whole life. And so when I
Wow.
heard about this project, I thought, what a great opportunity it is for people to visit and chat and talk and hear those stories, without having some kind of timeline on it. And so I jumped at the opportunity to be part of the project. So I'll turn it to Gwen, your
Yes,
thoughts.
please.
Okay, so when I heard about the project through Volunteer Nanaimo, I just loved the idea of people sharing their stories and the knowledge that the volunteers could get from the stories, because it's a win-win situation for both. If there's so much wisdom in life lived, and people who have lived a long time, or who are seniors, could share their stories, and you never know when they could say something that could change another person's life. So it's a win-win for both people. Also, I did write my mom's story before my mom passed away, and I really enjoyed that. But now I have this humongous box she has notes in it, notes of all kinds. And I wish I could ask her about all those notes, what all those notes mean, and the stories behind them. And so I think it's really important when people are alive to get all the stories and to find out things.
Well, and I think that people don't really understand just the impact that our family has on us when we're seeing them every day, right? There's never the thought that something will ever happen to them. We know inevitably, instinctively, we know that family members pass on, but we don't necessarily realize how much we're going to miss some of the simple things that we take for granted, right, in our families, because they're always around us, right? I love the concept of having hand-in-hand intergenerational storytelling, but in particularly, what's particularly interesting to me is the intergenerational piece, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
connecting.
Connection, right?
Yeah, and the seniors, the seniors that we work with right now, like they love that connection with volunteers,
And we have volunteers who love it. Like we check in with them, how's it going? And then people say how much they enjoy it, enjoying being together and sharing time together.
Are the volunteers vetted? Like, how do the volunteers become a part of this conversation?
Okay, so the volunteers, they fill out a registration form first. And then I meet with them, and we go over we talk about the project, we talk about what they're looking for in volunteering, we talk about their interests also, because we like to match them. Like one example is we have someone he's a musician, and so he plays the guitar. And so then we found a senior who's also interested in music, and now he actually plays the guitar for her. So together, he plays the guitar for her. They talk about the stories. I also wanted to make it clear that it's Intergenerational Storytelling Project. It is the Intergenerational Storytelling Project, but a story looks different for each of the volunteers or the seniors. So some of the seniors might want to share recipes. They might want to preserve family recipes, or maybe they want to do little stories. It's not necessarily your life story. It could be little stories about when you were a teenager, when you were, different times in your life, things that were interesting that you'd like to preserve. Or it could be traditions that you do with your family. And so when I meet with the volunteers, we talk about that. We talk about, it's just like this, the whole world's an oyster. Like you meet the person that you're matched up with, and together you figure out what times will work for you. You figure out what actually this relationship is going to look like. Like, what you're going to be recording, what are you going to be, what do they want to save? And so it's exciting. It's an exciting opportunity to meet someone new.
And is there a time limit on this program, by the way? Is the funding just for a short period of time, or is this an ongoing initiative?
It did start out to have a time limit. It was only going to be 6 months. We have expanded it.
Yay!
So it will be going on for longer. So you have time. You have time to sign up.
This is what I'm just saying, but still call to action. These days, a lot of stuff, especially when it comes to nonprofit agencies, relies on external funding. And so, there are other things that you can do. If you don't have somebody to share a story with, by all means, think about contributing to Volunteer Nanaimo and helping to propel this for somebody else. It's always important that we share the wealth, however that looks. And so let's, maybe look at and finding a way to contribute, even if it isn't necessarily participating yourself, although we'd really like you to participate. Well, there we have it. Another episode of Act 3. We are very delighted on this episode to have had the opportunity to get back into studio. And the next coming episodes, we'll start to see a little bit more of that studio time. And while COVID-19 has kept us out of studio, and we have still been able to produce some programs for you at any rate through the Zoom media, we always look forward to being with our family and our friends and maintaining that important connection that we never want to let go of. So coming up this fall, of course, season 2 of Act 3 will start producing shows once again for you. We'll be doing those back, or for part of it, we'll be doing them back in studio. And we do hope that you'll tune in for our second season of Act 3. Meanwhile, please do yourself a favor. Let's get this COVID thing to bed permanently. Don't forget, it's always important to wash your hands. Make sure you socially distance as much as you possibly can, and take care of each other in every way you can to avoid getting this thing going again, because we really wanted to go to bed now. In the meantime, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Act 3.
So if you got that